I have really a very difficult task. This task is to introduce someone who really doesn't need an introduction. He's a politician among politicians. Not only that, also a scientist among scientists. A writer among writers, an educator among educators too.
You know, the idea of having one of the world's great people, Ismail Serageldin.
In a way, what is, I think, so exceptional and very characteristic of him is the combination of the highest level of scholarship and intellect with a deep, deep sense of social responsibility.
He's a poet.
You know, he talks about the latest scientific breakthroughs and innovations, but then he always is deeply rooted in the reality.
He has been able to make many people see the enormous challenges that we are facing.
He always has a new rabbit to take out of the hat.
Dr. Serageldin is, of course, a fantastic person with a personality which facilitates everything when it comes to meeting between people and culture, etc.
He speaks in such a way, always the right word to the right situation.
I mean, there's no one like him in the world.
So that we can clone Ismail Serageldin and have 10 Serageldins. That's what we should do.
Born in the shadow of the pyramids, Ismail Serageldin developed early and was a brilliant student. He graduated with a BSc in engineering from Cairo and went on to obtain his master's and PhD from Harvard. His thesis was on the role of education in development. He was active politically and was elected president of the Pan-Africa Students' Organization in the Greater Boston area. After some consulting work in Boston, he moved on to the World Bank, where he would rise quickly to become Director of Programs for West Africa, just as the debt crisis was hitting Africa. It was the era of structural adjustment and debt rescheduling. Ismail Serageldin fought hard to introduce the social dimensions of adjustment in Africa program in a World Bank which was not always sympathetic to his humanist ideals. He then took on the role of director of the Africa Technical Department, covering all of sub-Saharan Africa at the World Bank, and from there he focused on the problems of poverty and worked for expanding the economic model of the bank to include the environmental and gender dimensions of development, long before it became fashionable to do so. He also brought culture to the World Bank. He organized the Culture and Development in Africa Conference in 1992 and helped organize exhibits of African art in Washington. He became the first ever Vice President for Environmentally and Socially Sustainable Development, ESSD, at the bank in 1992, supervising all the work of the bank in environment, agriculture, water, infrastructure, urban and transport, as well as the design of social and environmental policies for all bank-financed projects. He also chaired the consultative group for agricultural research, the international network of institutions whose research produced the Green Revolution, and which included ITER in Nigeria, WERDA in Côte d'Ivoire, ILRI in East Africa, and many others. He promoted microfinance, and in 1996 to 97, he helped organize the World Microcredit Summit in Washington, D.C., and founded and became the first chairman of the consultative group to assist the poorest, C-GAP. In 1995, he warned of pending water shortages and potential water wars in the 21st century, and founded and became the first chairman of the Global Water Partnership. In 2000, he returned to Egypt to become the founding director of the Bibliotheca Alexandrina, the new library of Alexandria. Within less than 5 years, he created a formidable institution which receives more than 1.4 million visitors annually and holds more than 700 events every year. It is a globally recognized center of excellence in science and research, culture and openness and dialogue, with 12 affiliated research institutes and museums. Its 2,200 youthful staff members were recruited and trained by him. It partners with such institutions as the Library of Congress and the National Library of France.
You know that I'm an excited proponent of not only the institution, but of its current leader, Ismail Serageldin, who is possibly the most accomplished polymath that I have ever met.
Ismail Serageldin is also a remarkable intellectual with great breadth and encyclopedic knowledge, whose work has been recognized around the world by many honors and 26 honorary doctorates. He serves on many boards and advisory committees for academic, research, scientific and international institutions, and civil society efforts.
Every country needs the permanent interface between citizens and creative thinking, and pushing, discreetly but pushing nevertheless, citizenship as a very fundamental tool of a modern society.
His life has been dedicated to the cause of development and for the poor and the marginalized. He is a man of passion and compassion, a visionary leader who gets things done on a grand scale, who inspires by word and deed.